Bienvenido a un nuevo episodio de Casters of Horror. Mi amo es Chris Mes.
And I'm Shane.
What's up, everybody?
Es no muy bueno.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to an all-new episode of Casters of Horror. I'm Chris Mess, and of course, that's Shane. And this week, we are reviewing the film
Piggy.
The
full-length version.
Yes, the Spanish film.
Yes.
Yes. But before we get into our review of the film, we've got a little bit of movie news. There's a fairly well-known film coming out here soon. You may have heard of it, Shane. It's called Megan, or M. Thregan.
M. Thregan, yeah, we've talked about M. Thregan.
She's this film also Blumhouse and James Wan working together on this one decided that they wanted to go for a PG-13 rating on this rather than the R-rated films that have been coming out as of late that have been killing at the box office. But they said they wanted to take it back old school, kind of like along with Drag Me to Hell, some of the other Blumhouse titles that have been really, really popular, let's see, A Quiet Place, Split, Get Out, Happy Death Day, Insidious. All of those were all PG-13.
I can see that.
What are your thoughts on them having to do complete reshoots of some of their scenes just to make it PG-13?
I mean, if that was just something they chose to do, fine. I know that a lot of people are complaining about this. I don't know what you're complaining about. We all know that there's going to be an unrated director's cut. You know, just the fact that they already had these scenes.
Yeah. They're
going to get into a version of the movie. So calm yourselves down.
Yeah. Now,
go watch the PG-13 version and then watch the unrated cut later.
Now, here's what's going to be interesting, though. You bring up a good point about the unrated cut, and there's a lot of films that do this. However, don't get too excited, though. They said that the version that was already shot was borderline PG-13 anyway.
Okay.
The only thing that they really had to do, they said, we just kind of, you don't see all the blood. You hear it.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing all of it. So I'm just like, isn't that more editing than going in and reshooting?
Yeah,
but
I know,
whatever.
Plus, I mean, come on. This movie looks a little, like, zany anyway.
Well, they're saying it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of got a comedy feel to it in a way.
Yeah.
Like very, very dark comedy. But I don't know. Are you going to be rushing out to see this one? I mean, I know we've talked about it. We've talked about doing it on the show before and all that sort of stuff. Say that we were not going to do it on the show. Is this one that you would rush out to see based on everything?
Well, first of all, I don't rush out to see anything, but
yeah,
I will if I have to, if they're not streaming it immediately. The only thing, honestly, that had even caught my attention about this movie is the fact that it's James Wan.
Yeah.
Right. If it hadn't been James Wan, I'd have been like, oh, okay, well, this just looks like a Chucky ripoff. You know, I mean.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I get that.
It's a story that's been done over and over, right? So it's not like we're getting anything overly original here, but I'll watch it because it's James Wan.
AI comes to life, kills people.
Yeah.
Ooh, haven't heard of that before. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's just say that this news doesn't in any way affect whether or not, I was going to see it. Yeah. So,
well, cool. Well, go out and see it if it's going to be in PG-13, so all the youngins can go see it too.
Yeah.
Or if you want to hold out for the unrated hot doll-on-doll action, just wait until the Blu-ray release, I guess. Shane, you had a little bit of movie news as well.
Movie news. I do. We found out over the weekend, I think, Christopher Landon, who has been a director on Freaky, which was a kind of a horror take on Freaky Friday, which I've never seen but need to.
Okay.
He also has done Happy Death Day. Again, 2 movies I've never seen but need to. Anyway, he has been tapped to write and direct a remake of Arachnophobia, the classic and horrifying 90s film about basically like mutant spiders. I mean, I know it's a lot of spiders.
Yeah.
And
This was the first horror movie that I ever saw as a kid.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't even watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
There was a scene where the spider comes down out of the lamp. The lady goes up to switch off the lamp.
Oh, yeah.
The spider bites her and she's like starts dying from it. I was like, nope, I'm out.
I'm done.
And
I'm not switching off lamps anymore.
Oh no, my bedroom lamp was on for a long time after that. And anytime I would go and check it, I would look underneath just to be safe. So,
I don't know. I'm interested, even though I'm terrified of spiders. But Landon has some good things behind him. You know, he's done. He's been a writer on most of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Okay.
He's done Disturbia. Like I said, the Happy Death Day movies, Viral, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, and the TV movie remake of Highway to Heaven. So,
I'm in it just for that. Wait a minute. What's his last name?
This is Christopher Landon.
Is this Michael Landon's son?
I don't know, but that does seem like a possibility now, doesn't it?
If you guys don't know who Michael Landon is, he is the You're Not Old. Like
no, yeah.
No, he was the main angel on Highway to Heaven. Yeah. He was also in the show Little House on the Prairie. He was the dad on that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Siblings, partner.
Yeah, Michael Landon father. So
okay, well there you go.
Yeah,
it was just
an odd little connection. I didn't know that he did mostly horror movies.
Neither did I. Neither did I. Explains a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you have anything else?
No, that's it. Other than I'll be watching this one closely.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting a trailer too this week for the new Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
So
saw the little teaser that Bruce Campbell introduced, and we got the poster drop. So
we did get the poster drop.
Yeah,
and I got a lot of crap on Twitter from one dude in his family's basement.
Yeah,
that really didn't like what I had to say about the poster.
Yeah, didn't like your silly little joke, but
no.
Okay.
Well, honestly, I had to stop and look at it because it looks exactly like the Smile poster with other things added into it. That's all I'm gonna say. It looked exactly.
Yeah, it does. It does look quite a bit like it. So,
but anyway, so that's it for this week's movie news. We might as well just jump on into this film. What do you say? Like every week, we go into this film breaking down every scene, telling you the things that we like and we do not like. This is full spoiler. So if you've not seen the film, go see it prior. We will talk you through it. Otherwise, you watch along and maybe we'll keep up with the pace. Who knows? Who knows? That would be interesting to see if we actually kept up with the scenes, if someone just to put this on. Anyway, that's a lot of work though, and I'm not going to do it. But anyway, this film was written and directed by Carlota Pereda. She was also the one who wrote and directed the short film, Ceradita, which translates to Piggy. Basically, she's just done short films prior to this. She had about 2, maybe 3. She'd also done some TV work as well. But anyway, let's jump on into the film. We get a lot of different production companies,
Yeah.
of course, right off the top. We open up in a butcher shop. This okay. Before I get into this, I spoke about this last week. This is an extended version, if you will,
Mhm.
of a short film that came out. It had a lot of accolades when the short film did come out.
Yeah.
And then this is now just the expanded version of the 13-minute short film. So we'll kind of
Yeah.
go into the short film after also and compare it to the extended version that we're going to be
Yeah. I
talking about
mean,
now.
and basically, like the first 20 minutes of this movie is the short film, like a reshoot of the short film
Yeah,
with like a few bits of added context. There are some whole scenes added,
yeah,
but then like even in the scenes that are basically shot for shot remakes, I noticed a little bit of helpfully added context to the scenes.
yeah. There was
So
some, and then there was some that was like taken out completely. That it was like it almost seemed like it was did have parts of the short film, but if the short film had been really, really rushed in a way, it didn't. Anyway, I'll go into that later.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, we'll talk about that after. Anyway, we open up in a butcher shop. We see someone breaking down meat in there. We pan out. We find that it's Sarah. She's working in the shop. We haven't found out yet that it's her family shop. Spoiler alert. It's her
yeah.
family's. And she's also studying, doing some sort of homework of some sort.
Yeah.
Sarah is played by Laura Galan. She's been a lot of extras in a lot of shows. I only saw one other U.S. release, I believe, besides this, and that was The Man Who Killed Don Quixote with Adam Driver and written by Terry Gilliam. But she's looking out the window of the butcher shop, seeing these. I hate to call them kids, but at this age that I'm at, they're all
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
I can't tell if they're like high school students, college students,
Yeah. They
whatever.
all look like high school students to me.
Yeah, so they're all out the window. She's kind of wishing that she was a part of this popular group of people, and she sees this what we assume is some cute guy that she kind of like fancies. You can kind of tell by the glint in her eye.
Yeah.
He's talking with the girls and blah, blah, blah. And then one girl looks in the window and motions to Sarah, like
Yeah.
make yourself throw up every once in a while type thing. So we then are outside with them. They're making plans to go to a party. They were going to the waterfall, right? I think that's what they were saying.
They kept saying waterfall. It's like a public pool. It's sort of, but it's like under a bridge too. Or I don't.
Well, see, here's where I have a question with that, and it'll come up a little bit later. So
Okay.
And this is why this part and the part later is kind of confusing to me. So,
you know what? I assumed that's what they were talking about. Maybe they were talking about going to a waterfall that I don't remember seeing in the film.
Yeah,
did we? We'll get there. Okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
So they're going to somewhere with water. We assume that.
Yeah.
One of the girls says she has to go into the butcher shop. One of the other girls goes with her. This girl's name is Claudia. She appears to have been friends with Sarah at one point when they were younger. But now that she's become more popular and now that Sarah has become more girthy, they've kind of parted ways, if you will.
Yeah.
Sarah's dad, he's now back in the shop. He's cutting up the meat for the girl and all this, and he's asking her a lot of questions, like, oh, we haven't seen you around, much, and blah blah blah. Yeah, I've been busy. So she said that they were going to wherever they were going, to this party or whatever, and then the dad was like, oh, Sarah would love to go to that type thing, and then she's like, oh, no, and then the mom comes in, and man, this mom,
Oh yeah.
oh my god, throughout this whole movie, it's just like this. I don't know, man. I did not grow up in a Hispanic family, but geez, if this was the way that moms were nonstop.
Oh, this was very much a root for the killer situation here.
Yeah. Because mom was overbearing like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But mom was like, oh, you got to study first and then you can go and blah, blah. And then she didn't want Sarah to go. So anyway, Claudia leaves. We can tell Sarah's not popular. There is, they post something to like Instagram, like somebody's taken pictures of her in the shop or something and posted it to their Instagram
basically
feed, basically.
And we kind of do see too that like Claudia is still tries to be somewhat nice to her, like she actually says hi to her, and she kind of hangs back a little bit when when the others are tormenting
making fun
her.
And so we see Sarah goes back to like the fridge rated section. She sees her brother laying asleep on the floor or something, and she's like, mom's gonna kill you if she finds out, and blah blah blah. And so we basically find out she has a brother. That's all we find out from this. We then see Claudia on the back of the like a dirt bike motorcycle thing, and she starts fidgeting with a friendship bracelet. So you can assume at this point that this was a bracelet from back in the day. Claudia had one, Sarah had one.
See, I did not see this part, so that makes what happens later
on, more sense.
Okay.
So she's fidgeting with this bracelet. She pulls it out from like a cluster of bracelets and starts messing around with it. You can tell it's a friendship bracelet of some sort. Next, we're at like a local swimming hole, pool, whatever thingy it is. There's a waitress. She's bringing drinks around to people. I'm like, what kind of pool is this?
I know, right?
And she gets like slapped on the butt by some guy, which they don't explain at this point that this guy is the lifeguard.
Oh, yeah.
Later, we find out he's a lifeguard later.
Because he's sitting at a
also
table.
the boyfriend of the waitress.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, we don't find this out till way later. We just see the waitress getting slapped on the butt by some guy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, this guy's kind of a jerk. And he's like, hey, baby, type of thing. And it's like, okay, don't explain it whatsoever. But the waitress then sees some guy that she's never seen before. She's like, oh, I've never seen you around here. She makes mention of it.
Yeah.
And the guy doesn't say anything back. He just kind of looks at her. And then as she leaves, he's staring at the butt slap guy, which is what I had here, which later on we find out is a lifeguard. And I guess he has a name. It's like Pedro or Fernando or either he's Pedro or he's Fernando. And the guy on the dirt bike is Pedro or Fernando. I don't remember which one. I
don't remember what he was wearing, but to me, there was nothing here to indicate that this dude was the lifeguard.
No,
right?
He may have had a whistle.
Maybe.
He may have had like a, but I thought he was just wearing like a necklace. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Yeah.
There's nothing to indicate that he was the lifeguard. He had anything to do with lifeguarding duties.
He's sitting there at the table getting a drink, so I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, then next thing we see, we're at Sarah's family's home.
Yeah.
They're eating, which I found out later they're eating lunch because I was like, oh, the work day must be over. But I forgot in that culture, they have siestas midday. So they eat lunch and then take naps and then they go back to work. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cultural. I get it. But for Americans, I didn't get it. I was like, oh, what are they doing at home? You should be working nonstop. So the mom's like, you going hunting with dad tomorrow? Blah, 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 blah. There's this conversation at the table, really leads into nothing, really, except for the fact that we later on find out Sarah knows how to use a gun. So
Yeah.
the parents are then napping. Sarah leaves the house and walks alone to the pool. When she gets there, there's nobody there. Like, the place is vacated.
Yeah.
Like, from how full it was that morning to now just right after noon, and how dead this place is.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Yeah.
She goes in to change her clothes or take off whatever she's wearing over the top of a very, very skimpy bikini. Now, we have not mentioned as of yet, Sarah is not a skinny individual.
No.
This is not being mean.
Oh,
because
no.
This is the premise of the film.
Yeah.
She is a very, very large girl.
Yeah.
Very large girl. And she's wearing this skimpy ass bikini. I mean, that thing got swallowed. It was like a scene from Godzilla. The back end got swallowed whole. Anyway, she's in there, she's changing, and she hears someone splash into the water. She's just like, oh no, there's somebody else here. She wraps the towel around herself and she goes out to see who's out there. And she doesn't see anybody. She drops her towel and this guy pops out of the water.
Yeah, right. And she's like at the ladder to get into the pool.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to get in, and suddenly this guy pops up out of the water.
And it's that new dude. It's the new guy, which I don't know if they ever say what his name is. And if they don't, I don't want to just call him new guy throughout the whole thing.
I just kept calling him ball cap because he was wearing a ball cap at the beginning of his first scene. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what else to call him.
Yeah, I'm trying to look to see if he even has a name in here. I don't even see him on IMDb. Oh, here we go. Juan Carlitos.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the guy who plays him there. Juan Carlitos. Anyway, we'll just call him Juan. For the sake of this, we'll call him Juan. This is not stereotyping. This is, I assume that was Juan Carlitos. We'll just call him Juan because it's a long name.
Yeah.
So anyway, because I really don't want to call him new guy, and that's all that I had throughout the whole thing. She hasn't gotten to the water. She's like frozen, when he pops out. Yeah. And the girls that we saw earlier, they're walking across this bridge thing, which underneath it spills water into this pool, which it's like, it's a very different, it is not typical pool like we would assume with plaster and all that sort of stuff. This is like dirt floor. It's a pool in the essence of, it's actually a pool of water, like dammed up and water spills off.
And I had noted this, I texted this to you, like at least in this full movie, the water wasn't green. Because in the short film, it was very green. And I think this is the same place.
Yeah,
it was used in the short film. So my guess is there was just some like editing in post. Well,
I mean, there could have been a ton of algae at the time too, because
that's true. Yeah.
During the summer months, especially in places that get very, very humid and stuff like that, there's a lot of algae that grows under the water and it becomes very, very green. Sometimes during the fall and spring, it's a little bit clearer. So it too depended on when they filmed. But
to kind of like put into context, this seems more like a almost like a lake that had a little bit of stuff built around it so that it kind of resembled a pool, or it was like a body of water that was then turned into
it was like dammed off. It was dammed off on one side with maybe some spillover that continued running some water
Yeah.
for filtration, and then water was coming in from like a river, a fresh
Yeah.
river that was coming in on the other
Yeah.
side. So, which also could explain the waterfall part,
Yeah.
but
I don't know.
still, I'll get to that a little bit later. So we see the girls. They're up on this bridge thing over the spillover, where the cars can drive and whatnot. And they start making fun of her. They're like, "Hey, Piggy, 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 fatty, blah blah blah. Wearing a
Yeah.
bikini. You're alone forever. Oh, you're not alone. There's you got your boyfriend here. It looks like your boyfriend showed up. Is he the only one who'd love you? Blah 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 blah. Fatty, Piggy, Piggy, Piggy. Yeah." So anyway. Sorry, I kind of blacked out there for a second and I just kept going. PTSD. So I never got made fun of for being fat. Never. So anyway, the Juan hears him and he's like looking up at him and all this sort of stuff. And you can see he's kind of getting upset by what he's hearing.
Yeah.
And they just keep going on and on and on. And finally he gets out. He gets out of the pool. She has jumped in to the pool and he's left.
Yeah. She keeps diving underwater to try to just like get away from the sound of them.
Yeah. So he gets out. He's walking away. He's gone past the girls and all this sort of stuff. And the girls have now come down to the pool side with one of those big cleaning, like leaf cleaning net things.
Yeah.
Skimmer net. And they're holding it over Sarah's head, like pushing her down underneath the water, almost like trying to drown her.
Yeah, but not really. More like just
being mean.
Yeah, they're being mean. And Blondie, what is her name?
Claudia,
she's kind of hanging back and she's not really participating. She's kind of like telling them, hey, knock it off. But she's not really committing
she's
getting them to stop.
It's that typical, if you're not doing something to stop somebody, are you really a part of it? Or, and that whole thing. So, Sarah starts calling out for her, help, help, help. And she's just standing there. She's not doing it. She doesn't want to ruin her friendship.
Yeah.
She's popular,
Yeah, because the brunette even then like turns to her and is like, oh, she wants your help. You can help her. Are you a pig like your friend?
Yeah.
So Claudia has obviously found her way into the popular group. And I mean, she doesn't want to jeopardize that.
Yeah. Well, Claudia was hot. So of course. So Sarah then has the net overhead. She dives down deep to escape. And then we see, as I have written here, butt slap guy tied to a chair at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
So he's been drowned. He's dead. Bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
Now,
how he is weighted down to the bottom of the pool, I'm not sure. I couldn't even tell he was tied to a chair, honestly.
Yeah, but he was tied to the same chair that he was sitting in, up on the side. So what? Yeah. So how was he weighted down? For one, two. Since you did mention how green and dark and murky the water was during the short film, it made more sense for them to not see the body in that one, considering this is not super deep water.
No,
you can tell by when she dives down to the bottom, you can still see the surface. It's not super deep.
And it's not like the water is crystal clear now. It's not like a pool like we know them. Yeah. And at a water park or something.
It's a slightly clearish lake.
Yeah, it's still like lake water. It's just it doesn't have that like hideous green that the short film did.
Yeah. So anyway, so we now see the girls. We hear them at this point, and the girls are talking. They're like, "Ooh, we should do. What is this?" Blah blah blah. And they take all of Sarah's stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. They take her bag with her phone in it, her clothes, her towel, everything gone, and they book it.
Yeah.
So next scene we see is this road. and you see Sarah coming down the road,
Yeah.
holding herself in just her bikini.
Yeah.
There is movement. There's a lot of movement going on. Okay. I'm just stating these are facts. That is a bright light coming in from up there. All right. So I'm going to scoot a little bit closer to my camera here because that light is getting like right in my eye. Anyway, so now you get to see my face closer. So she's running just a bikini. She's getting ridiculed by drivers passing by.
Yeah.
Guys like jumping out of the cars, like making fun of her, high school students and all that. And they're like, "What's up, Piggy?" Yeah. She's like behind her and grabbing her and all this sort of stuff. Like her top falls off and then like she's like holding on to it and all that sort of stuff.
I think it's one of those that ties in the back and then ties at the neck in back.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell. I think one of the guys, I couldn't tell if it just accidentally happened, but I think he might have pulled it. The one at the neck. And so the one at the back is still tied, but it's trying to fall off and she's holding, and she's having a panic. She starts having basically like almost like a panic attack.
Yeah. So they leave. They go on past. And then another car starts coming her way and she's like, "I'm not going to deal with this again." So she takes this dirt road. She gets off the main drag there and goes down this dirt road. Once she comes down there, she hears and sees the back end of what looks like one of those delivery van, like small, like what do they call it? Those sprinter vans almost.
Oh yeah,
that's like an old sprinter van.
I couldn't think of the term. I'm like, this is a van, but it's not like a van.
Yeah, it's one of those smaller utility truck van things. So it's still running, but it's like nosed into the bushes. And after she goes by, then, she kind of goes by the van slowly and continues on. We see one of the girls, the main girl who was making fun of her and everything, the brunette one, which we find out later, or at some point, her name's Maka. We do find that out. She's like crawling on the ground behind her. She can't talk. She can't yell. She's bloodied and she's like trying to crawl away from something behind the van area. And then you see that Juan come up and like grab her and then throws her into the back of the van, like inside, not like into, but inside the back of the van. He then backs out and starts going past Sarah. And he then stops kind of in front of her. He doesn't go by fast, but he goes by.
No, yeah.
And we see this hand hit the back of the glass. And Sarah's looking like, what is that? And then you see the hand's bloody and all this. And then you look in there and Claudia is in the back of the van thing. Juan sees Sarah in the mirror, in his side mirror, and he's like, what is she going to do? Am I going to have to grab her too? Type thing. He opens up the door. Yeah. Claudia's banging on the window like, help, help, help. We need help. We help. The guy opens up his door.
He kind of like partially almost like steps out, but then stops.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, okay, what's he going to do?
And then he drops a towel out there. And Sarah pisses herself.
Yeah. Scared, obviously.
Yeah. And then she just kind of waves to Juan, like, thanks. And almost like, thank you, but I'm not going to say anything. And he drives off with the girl screaming in the back. This is the point where the short film ends.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say, first of all, it's worth watching the short film. The short film is
very good. It's definitely worth watching the short film.
There is to me, quite a bit of a deviation here. It doesn't seem like it, right? Because it's very subtle.
Yeah.
But, first of all, in the short film, Juan doesn't actually start to get out. He just pulls up, drops something out the window, right?
Yeah, he drops her bag.
Oh, yeah, her bag. Yeah, he drops her bag out the window. And she, like, puts her arm up to wave at him, and then he does the same and drives off.
Yeah.
She goes and grabs her bag, and then kind of looks up and gets this almost like wicked smile on her face. Like she's had her revenge.
Yeah.
That's not really what happens.
That doesn't play out in the longer film. There is a, and I was going to get into this a little bit later, but I might as well talk about it now. There is more of a foreboding sense of danger.
Yeah.
And her decision that she made in the short film than in the longer film.
Yeah.
There's more of this. She knows what she's done in the short film.
Yeah.
Because she is wanting that revenge.
Yeah.
Whereas in the longer one, it's more so. It almost seems like a self-preservation thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To me, that's what I got from it. There was a big difference between a self-preservation and screw them.
Yeah.
And it was more so screw them in the short film and self-preservation in the long one. And so I was like, the sense of dread or the sense of all this, I think was a little bit more pronounced in the short film than it was in the longer film. But we have more time to build on that. However, I would have liked to have seen this moment where it was as dark as the short film. I think it would have helped with other things later.
Yeah, but I think they kind of took that moment in the short film, that like darkness, and it honestly kind of just gets pushed a little bit.
Yeah. It does. It does. But really, if they would have put that dark moment at this point, you could have had these other points be just as dark or darker. You know, like these are decisions now at these points rather than decisions based on, what's, her trying to preserve herself.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he drives off. She wraps the towel around herself. She runs home, takes a shower. The voices, the girl screaming and everything.
Yeah.
And saying the stuff to her and all begin haunting her almost while she's in the shower. And then her mom just comes in and whips open the shower.
Yeah.
And she's like, ugh. What's wrong with you, girl? Haven't you been hearing me and blah, blah, blah? And then she's like, you got sunburned. You went to the pool, didn't you? And you haven't been studying. You naughty, filthy girl.
Yeah.
Piggy.
I can't remember exactly what she says, but she basically like says something to the effect of like, you're not very bright or something like that. Or I don't know. Her mom was just like really mean.
Yeah.
Here.
Her mom's super mean during this whole thing. So, anyway, she's like, get to the shop.
Yeah.
Get back down to the shop. And you're like, oh, okay. Is it the next day? What's going on? It's like, what's going on? And then it was later on, we find out it's just that afternoon now.
Yeah.
So she's like, get to the shop. So Sarah runs into her room. She opens up like this little box and finds a chocolate bar and starts eating it. So you can tell she hides in junk food, comfort food, whatever.
Yeah.
Jeez, this light is bright. I've got like one spot like right up here where light comes in through my... Anyway, so just deal with it, people.
Do you need to go take care of it?
Nah, it's all right. I just can't see out of my right side. So anyway, so she eats the chocolate bar and everything, and she's crying, and then then she just kind of gets this mean look on her face, and she's like, F them.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
because she gets on her laptop, right?
That's right.
And she goes to the post that she had found earlier when they had that they had taken of her in the butcher shop earlier.
Yeah, that Instagram.
Yeah, she goes to essentially Instagram, and she's reading through the comments, and I mean they're all in Spanish, so I recognize a few words, but
yeah,
but this is what I was talking about, where like that darkness gets pushed, and this is the point that gets pushed to, because it's right here that she's just like, F them.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's as effective as it was in the short film, but again, we have a longer film to deal with here, so I understand why they did it, but
yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Demons in your house? So
cats. So yeah.
Cats. Close enough. So now we're back in the butcher shop. Sarah's like, "Can I leave?" To her dad. She's like, can I leave? Like, she had just gotten back. And her dad's like, "Your mom will kill you, if you left, and all this." And she's like, nobody's coming in, blah, blah. And he's like, "Nobody's been here all day," type thing. It's just, so we see the guy on the dirt bike. He's showing up out front. He's like looking around, like, this is the spot that everybody would come to if they're missing.
Yeah, they all hang out in front of the butcher shop.
Yeah, it's just everybody there. So he's looking for his Claudia, I guess, and he's like on his phone trying to find it and everything. So we see that a light bulb goes out in one of the cases, the meat cases, and so Sarah's dad is like, "Go to the store, get a light bulb, pick up a snack for yourself and get me a drink." So she gets to the hardware store, grocery, whatever, the store in town.
There's a word for this.
Small mart.
Small mart?
Small mart. Because it has everything but nothing all at the same time. It's like a general store type thing, but
it almost looks like a flea market booth, except for really big. Just the way that like some vendors will just throw stuff on the shelves.
Yeah,
because there's a bunch of random. It looks like my local Dollar General, if I'm being honest.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was like a really crappy small lumber store with extra stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows? So anyway, she's in there. She finds like a pair of scissors and cuts a bracelet off, which you're like, oh, okay, that one matches Claudia's. It's now on the floor. She just drops it and leaves it on the floor. And then we see Juan. We just see his feet step into frame, and then he picks the bracelet up. He's kind of following her around the store now.
Yeah.
She puts all her items on the counter, and the cashier says, "Are you sure that you want this?"
Yeah.
And looks like right at her, and she's like, "No, that's okay.
Just
never mind."
She pushes it, and it's some of those like cake treats or something. I don't know.
like I couldn't tell if they were like cornettos, like the frozen ice cream things.
I don't think so. I think they're more like a like a Twinkie, not quite, but it's like one of those packaged like
like Hostess type.
Yeah, it's something like that, only Spanish.
Little Dora's. Instead of Little Debbie.
Doris.
Yeah. So okay. So she Dora. So she pushes it away. She pays for the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
She leaves. And then Juan comes up. The cashier's going to like move all those cake thingies out of the way, and he grabs them like, "No, I'm going to buy all of them."
Yeah.
Then we see her walking back to the shop. She's got like a sucker. She's still like, "I'm not without my sugar."
Yeah.
So you can tell she's like any overweight person. Fat kids love cake. So she's eating a sucker and walking back to the shop. Her mom finds her on the way back. She's like, "What are you doing out here?" And
Her
she's like,
mom
"Dad,"
does this a lot. She just like
just shows
is,
up.
yeah, she's just suddenly there.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just pops out of nowhere with
yeah.
a slipper in her hand, like ready to hit her. So she's like, "Something happened at the pool." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Do you know what?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "Well, let's go. We have to find out." Like all the women from town have to go find out. There's no men there except for the cops. Don't know if you noticed that, but they're all women. They're all have to find out what's
this. You really do get the impression this is a small Mexican village
community.
basically.
Yeah. Everybody knows everybody in the business that's going on.
Yeah,
and we get the big feeling of all that later too.
Oh
yeah.
And
so she's like, "Well, we have to get back to the shop. Dad needs this light bulb." And she's like, "Your dad can wait."
Yeah.
And and then we see Juan like watching from afar.
He's still following them.
Yeah.
He's in his little like sprinter van thing. Following them.
So mom's asking questions while driving out there. She's in her own van, which has little tchotchkes and trinkets and Saint Mary and the Virgin Mary and all these little tchotchkes everywhere. And she's like, "Well, who was at the pool when you were there?" And she's like, "No one." And she's like, "You're lying. I can tell that you're lying. What happened?" And she's like, "I didn't see anything." She's like, "You're lying." So we show up and they pull up to the pool area and the police are there. They've got it all like taped off and all this. And you see them hauling a body or something out of the water. And when you see the body coming out and passing by and all this sort of stuff, they say that the body had been in there all afternoon. Sarah then realizes that she was in the pool with it and starts throwing up over the side of the pool, or over the side into the pool. And one of the ladies is like, "Oh, now you're contaminating the." What did she say?
She said, "There goes the crime scene."
There goes the crime scene. That's right. And this lady is just antagonizing her the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay? So she's just like, blah, and all this, and fatty and blah, and so she throws up. The police want to talk to her, and she's like, "I never went to the pool."
Yeah.
She tells her mom, because her mom's like, "Well, you were here. She swam with the corpse." Blah, blah. She goes, "I never went to the pool." She goes, "I went to the waterfall." And that's why I was like, "Oh, is the waterfall a different place?"
Oh, did she? I thought she said she went to the river.
I thought she said she went to the waterfall because the river up there is different. Something. Anyway,
I don't know.
Who knows?
She said she wasn't there. She was at some.
She
other
was there.
spot.
She was at a. Yeah, exactly. And then she just screams, "They call me Piggy, and you do nothing," to her mom. And her mom's like, "What? Like you're gonna talk to me like that?" Then one of the cops is like, "Hey, Dad, we have this issue," and he goes, "I mean, Corporal."
Yeah.
So you're like, "Oh, okay. It's the father and son. The corporal is the dad, and the deputy in town is the son." So
and we didn't mention it, but when after she had gotten the towel from Juan, the younger cop comes out of the building and sees her walking. He actually asks her if she needs help, and
because the dog's barking like crazy at her. Yeah.
And she just keeps walking, ignores him. But so like he does see, he knows.
Right, he knows that she was wet.
She was wet, Yeah. So he saw her walking. So
because she pissed herself at that one place. She's like, "No, I didn't swim. I just pissed myself." So the mom says, "So I do nothing. You'll see." Once they get back into the van, and she can tell that Sarah's lying about something.
Yeah.
So now we're at dinner time. Mom's just being mean. This is all the same day, mind you.
Oh yeah.
We're a long ways into the movie.
It's just a long day. Yeah.
Mom's just mean. She just basically throws a salad at Sarah.
Yeah. She's like, Don't they call you fat? Eat less then.
Yeah, eat less than. This is all you get since you're
Yeah.
fat.
I
And
love this point. Dad looks over, it's like, why would they call you fat?
and then was it Sarah or the brother who's like, well, you're fat? Oh, it's
Yeah.
Sarah who says to the mom, well, you're fat.
Oh yeah.
She's like, yeah, but
does.
nobody calls me fat. Or
Yeah.
nobody calls me Piggy.
Yeah.
So next thing we see is the old lady who was being mean to Sarah at the pool and everything, and said about the crime scene, her messing up the crime scene and all this and all that. And
is that who this was? Okay,
yeah.
I did not catch that. I'm like, who is this lady?
Well, Juan is now at her house and just kills her. So we see that he's like,
yeah, he's got her all tied up.
Yeah,
and
he's killing the people who've been mean to Cerdita. So Claudia's mom shows up, interrupting dinner, which at this point,
you know what? Did we mention when they pulled the body out? That's when we find out that it was the lifeguard.
It was the lifeguard.
That's the point we find out that this guy, from the beginning of the movie, was the lifeguard.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's the lifeguard.
And they find out that they say this is where they say that his girlfriend or something was missing.
And she was the waitress. His girlfriend, the waitress.
Yeah.
And it's like,
like, what?
Yeah, you really had to explain that fast. His girlfriend, the waitress, she's still missing. Yeah, they can't find her. So Claudia's mom then shows up, interrupting dinner. She's like, where is she? Where is she? And she's like, why would you think she's here? And she's like, well, because, they're friends and all this, and you've seen her, and she was at the pool or something like that. And then the mom says, all the girls bully Sarah, and you have the nerve to come here. And she's like, I want you out of my house and all this.
Yeah.
And kicks her out of the house. And then the mom starts yelling at the family, and she's like, you're all driving me crazy.
Yeah. So, at this point, Sarah has started hiccuping for some reason, and her mom's just like, "Stop hiccuping! You look like a fool."
Yeah, and then tries to scare it out of her.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very. I don't want to say cultural, but you get this kind of stuff if you watch I watch a lot of old kung fu movies.
Oh yeah,
and this is the same kind of way that they talk in those, and the hiccuping would happen or some. So, and even in some Spanish TV and stuff, it's cultural. I mean, these sorts of things are just, I don't know. Watching this as a dumb American, that's what
also an American who lives very close to the border, right? Close, a lot closer than I do.
A lot closer than you do. Yeah. I've seen Mexico more than once. So Sarah then goes up to her room, and she finds one of those treat things she was going to buy at the small mart, just kind of down on the floor somewhere in her room.
Yeah.
And she's like, where did this come from? I don't care. I'm going to eat it. So she starts eating it. Then her brother, when he was downstairs, he was like, well, why don't they just use Find My Phone or something like that on the computer to trace Claudia's phone to find her?
Yeah.
So Sarah then is like, can I use the laptop? I need to find my phone.
Yeah.
Or he was saying that Claudia's phone would only work with her computer or her laptop. She goes, well, I need to find my phone.
Yeah, because Claudia's mom had said, I've been trying to call Sarah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't picking up. Yeah. And so Sarah's like, oh, my phone's upstairs. Yeah. Well, no, the reality is it was in her bag, which the girls took. So.
Yep. So, so she doesn't have her phone. So she's like, let me use the laptop. And the brother's like, no, I'm not going to let you use it. And she's like, I'm going to tell mom that you look at porn. And he's like, I'm going to tell mom that you look at porn. I've seen your browser history. Yeah. And so anyway, she's like, and she goes downstairs. The dad's watching TV. She decides she's going to try to steal her dad's phone.
Yeah.
She tries to do this Mission Impossible type thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a humorous scene. She like
Oh, yeah.
flops onto the floor and she's trying to like scoot across the floor. And her mom catches her and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she hops up. She's like, "I was going to try to scare Dad."
Dad
Anyway.
just looks back and he's like, "This girl's a weirdo."
Yeah, and he's like, "Get me a beer." So she goes to get a beer. She ends up taking the phone without him knowing, gives him a kiss, and runs off. She's like, and so she leaves. She sneaks out of the house after she's stolen the phone. She's going to go look for her phone, I guess, just by calling her phone nonstop.
Oh,
Well, then we see the cops. They're out roaming around, and they're looking for a missing bull, which we've heard earlier went missing because of they were doing the running of the bulls, and one of the bulls escaped, and it was now roaming the countryside.
I totally forgot about that when it got to this part, and so they're like, "We got to find the bull." I'm like, "Is the bull code for something?"
I
don't know.
It is in a lot of circles. So Sarah's trying to call her phone in the dark. She finds what I think was a tooth.
Oh, see, I thought it was at first too, but then it looked more like a fingernail to me, like a painted fingernail.
Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't tell what it was.
It's like glittery and blue or something, I think.
Okay, so it's a tooth. So I don't know. So she looks up, and then the bull's like right there.
Yeah, it's like, okay. It actually is a real bull.
Yeah, she found the bull. And then she also I don't know if she saw it or not, but we see that van is stashed off into the woods.
I don't think she saw it, but it's in camera frame, so we see it.
Yeah. So she's going through the woods looking for her phone, and she finds like a shirt, and I can't tell if it was the one that Claudia had earlier, where she just kind of had it around herself or something. I don't know.
Oh, is that what? I thought it was another backpack, because at first I thought it was hers.
No, it was a shirt. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then she hears her phone then. Yeah. And she sees like blood on a rock, and she's still trying to look for it because she's looking. It's the middle of the night. Yeah. She's just got the light from the flashlight from the cell phone.
Yeah,
that's what she's. Phone. Yeah.
And see, I assumed she was using the Find My Phone app to find her phone from her dad's phone.
No, she's like literally calling it because you can hear it ringing.
Well, I know that she does eventually start calling it, but I thought that's why they mentioned the whole Find My Phone app, because later other people are using their phones.
Yeah, they're using like tablets. They had a tablet, and it was like one of the sisters' tablets that they were using to track it. So, so she sees blood on a rock and all this sort of stuff, and then fireworks start going off, and you kind of see a cabin.
Is there ever an explanation for why there's fireworks?
At one point, they talk about the mom starts talking about some sort of celebration. Okay. When they were in the van, they start talking about something for the celebration tonight.
Oh, okay.
And that's why the girls were gone, is because they were out partying.
They were out partying, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and the big celebration or something. Yeah. But they never explain what the celebration is. So there's fireworks going off. And this is also the time where, they were doing the running of the bulls and all that. This was early, close around that time. So she finds her bag, and then the new guy finds her, Juan.
Yeah.
They hear a car, and he grabs her, and then they run towards that abandoned cabin looking thing.
Yeah.
The car is the parents of some of the girls. They're tracking the cell phones on the tablets and stuff like that. Sarah and the guy are hiding, and they are like super close. He's like looking at her and
getting
like,
closer. Yeah.
And then like touching each other and all this. Yeah. And then like they're getting closer and closer. Like they're going to start making out right there.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating.
Seemed like it.
Yeah. It looked like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly think too that was the intended implication.
Yeah.
But he's into her. Interrupted.
He's into her. He's protecting her, but she's also now into him. Like this is somebody who likes me. And
Someone who's
being,
nice to her,
yeah,
at
someone
least.
who's nice
So
to her.
yeah,
And that, as a fat person growing up, it was like, oh, you like me? Let's get
yeah,
married.
yeah,
So, and yeah, so 20 years later now. Uh, um, so anyway, then he's like, basically like, stay here and hide, and he just books it. He takes
yeah,
off,
yeah.
leaves her. Um, and you hear one of the parents screaming because they found a body, and I thought that she said it was Maka, but from what I think, I'm not for sure. It's either Maka or the waitress. I don't know which one.
I think they say it's Mako.
That's what I
I think
thought.
so.
That's what I thought. Okay, so that explains then who later on. Okay, so that's what I thought. Yeah, it was Maka because I remember her saying, "Oh, Maka." Blah, blah. So,
Yeah,
so
because the other girl's name, by the way, is Rosie.
oh, okay,
And we only get that at one point. It's when Claudia's mom is at their house, and Sarah's mom says, "Your daughter and that."
Maka and Rosie. Oh, that
She
yeah.
said. Again, if we're trying to keep this PG, I don't want to, but yeah, she said she actually name drops Rosie there.
Is it having to do something with lawn care equipment?
No.
Oh, it wasn't the hi ho, but it's close to ho. But
Actually, I don't remember.
I thought it had.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I did have it written down. I forgot. Yeah.
She's a hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're talking about Rosie, which
and that's the only reason I even mention it, because her name never comes up again. But the only reason I mention it is because in the context, I think we established that it is Maka that they found in the woods now. Okay,
so they found one of the girls.
Yeah,
because there was something later on that made me question who this was. So okay, so Sarah's like hiding in that abandoned thing, and the parents are still looking around to see who else is there. The cops hear the commotion. They're like, well, we didn't find a bull, but something's going on.
Yeah.
So Sarah escapes. She takes off. She runs back home. She starts washing her clothes because she's got stuff all over them. She's like washing her clothes. She like has to stash her dad, like slides her dad's phone out onto the floor because the mom's coming out to look for the phone for the dad.
Yeah, because she's ringing the phone. Yeah, so
the mom comes downstairs. Sarah is just in her underwear, and the mom like catches her hiding like by the refrigerator, just kind of this weird, awkward look.
She just rolls her eyes and keeps walking.
Yeah, and then she's like, "You were sneaking food, weren't you?" And she's like, "I had a yogurt." And she's like, "No, you didn't. What were you eating?" And because she had come back down because she heard the washing machine.
Oh yeah.
But then she looks at her and she's like, "What? You're lying." And she's like, "All right, I had chocolates and cookies." And she's like, "Okay, well, your diet starts tomorrow." Now she's like, "Okay, I believe you." So then Sarah goes up to her room, and then she starts pleasuring herself, thinking about Juan.
Yeah.
And their time in the woods.
Yeah.
She snaps out of it when she hears her name being called and like a tap on the window. Like something hitting her window. And it's the dude with the dirt bike.
Yeah, it's Claudia's boyfriend, right?
Yeah, and he's like, "Why did you lie?" She's like, "I didn't lie." And he's like, "Claudia sent me a video of you at the pool."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why would they be When was she videoing this? I never see her videoing.
I didn't either.
She is holding her phone. I know that she's holding her phone.
And I'm guessing it's when they're like hitting her, putting her the net over her head is the only thing I can think.
Probably. So she's like, "They were bullying me. They almost drowned me." She goes, "I didn't see anything." And he's like, "Well, I'm sorry that they bullied you." He realizes at this point that the girls were being mean to her.
Yeah.
He's like, "Here, you want to smoke some weed?" And then they get super high and she gets all
Yeah. giggly. After 2
and
hits.
yeah,
Which, I mean,
yeah,
okay, I don't...
yeah. Lightweight. It's funny for me to call Piggy what lightweight, but
Yeah.
some aspects, he's like, they're trying to blame me for this, for the girls being missing. Like he had something to do with it.
Yeah.
She's like, well, if they accuse you, I'll tell them about what happened at the pool.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Now at this point, don't know why, but mom is out hanging up laundry in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because it's the same night. Mom is now she was in her nightgown when she came downstairs after finding dad's phone.
Yeah.
Now she's wearing her actual clothes.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
And then hanging up clothes to dry in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I don't know when to dry, maybe?
I don't know. So, she finds the towel. There's like blood on the towel, she notices.
Yeah.
And this is the towel that Sarah had wrapped herself up in after the pool incident. The mom also looks at the initial or on the tag, and there's the initial CS on them for Claudia someone.
Oh, it's Claudia someone, yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't tell what she found on the tag there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, but it was obvious that she knew it wasn't Sarah.
Yeah. So it's late at night, super late at night. Okay. I'm talking like this is probably 1, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. Claudia's mom is out walking the streets and finds Sarah and the boyfriend. And she's like, where is she? Where is she? You know where she's at. Blah, 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 blah. And I guess she was out looking through the woods. So I guess it would make sense that she was there. And the mom shows up. Sarah's mom just shows up again. She's like, let's go home. We need to go home. And the mom was like, it was Sarah. Oh no, the boyfriend was like, it was Sarah. Yeah. She was there. She did it.
Guy says, Guy just immediately turns on her.
Yeah. And then there's this big fight out in the street, and the cops show up and they take Sarah in for questioning.
Yeah.
She tells the cops about the bullying, how they took her things, and she was walking home half naked. And then they're like, and then what? And she's like, nothing. He's like, did you see anyone else? No. Tell us the truth. It'd be helping us. And the mom's like, we're done. We're leaving. And then the cop was like, look, blood.
Yeah.
And turns out Sarah's having her period?
I guess so. I guess that was the entire context of this.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I was like, okay, are they playing off? Is she just playing off that she's getting her period because there's blood on her clothes?
And that's actually what I thought.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So did I. But
I'm not sure.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So the mom and Sarah start walking home. We see the dad of the boyfriend. He's like, do you need a ride home? She's like, no, she just got her period and she'll mess up your entire car. Yeah. And so Sarah's like, she just starts waddling home. The mom's coming after her. And then we see that Juan or someone is rummaging through Sarah's panties.
Yeah.
And the dad comes walking in and he's like, who are you? And Juan starts beating the crap out of the dad.
Yeah. He clubs him with something, knocks him down.
Yeah, knocks him down and then starts strangling him.
And at this point, I was like, no, Dad was funny.
Yeah, Dad was funny. He was nice.
Yeah.
You know? So the mom starts questioning Sarah about Claudia's towel and why there was blood on it.
Yeah.
And then Sarah's like, shut up, I hate you, I wish you were dead. And then Juan just comes out of nowhere and grabs Mom and knocks her out.
Yeah. Mom's getting ready to slap her for that, and Juan grabs her arm.
And
just
takes
knocks
her
her
out.
clean out. Yeah.
So then the little brother, he's waking up with all the commotion. He goes in to use the bathroom. He's like, Mom, Dad, there's no toilet paper. There's no toilet paper. Somebody get me some toilet paper. La 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 la.
Yeah.
And Juan is like, he pulls out a knife and he's gonna go upstairs and kill the little
Yeah.
brother. And Sarah grabs him and she's like, no, 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 don't,
Yeah.
leave him be. And so he then just grabs Sarah and takes her out of the house.
Yeah.
They're gone. So they get outside. He's walking her to his van. And then there's like these high school guys, the ones who had like harassed her out on the road earlier. They're like making fun of her. They're like, "What's up, Piggy? Oh, looks like she got a boyfriend. Someone to finally pork that hog, type thing." And
Yeah.
and Juan is like mad, and he slams the van into reverse and goes all the way back, almost hitting the guys, and they have to like jump over like this ledge thing and hurt themselves. And one guy's like, "My arm."
We note here too that before he left their house, he grabbed, I'm guessing it was dad's gun. He grabs it off the rack.
You noted, I didn't.
Oh no, okay. I mean, and I don't know what it was, a dad's hunting rifle or something, or a shotgun.
Okay.
I can't tell.
Okay, that explains.
Yeah.
Something a little farther.
It was just like hanging up there or something like you would hang an umbrella.
Yeah. Well, see, remember they were going to go hunting the next day.
Yeah. So that's where the gun comes from. Juan grabs it, and so
okay.
So now Juan has a gun.
Juan has a gun.
Yeah.
So they go over the ledge. He gives her. They're driving down the road. He's like, Juan wants to comfort Sarah, so he reaches into the glove box and he pulls out one of those cake treat things and gives it to her. She's like, she realizes, oh, this is where it came from, and type thing. And then she also sees her bracelet in the glove box.
Yeah.
And he shuts it really quick. He's looking at her, and then there's the bull.
Yep.
And wham, they slam right into it. And they both get knocked out.
Bull is like halfway through the windshield too. You see one of the horns right there in Sarah's face.
Yeah. Yeah. That cat really likes that light.
I don't think she's back there today. Oh yeah, she is.
It's other demons.
She is.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
So we see Juan then after he's come to, he's carrying Sarah, strong dude, into some like abandoned warehouse looking building thing. And then he starts like trying to clean up her wounds. Like he's ripped off part of his sleeve and he's like trying to, pat the blood, just trying to bandage her up a little bit.
Yeah.
She wakes up. She's laying on some metal table. It appears to be like an old slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
We get this because Lee and what's her name from Bones and All are up making out up in the counter, up in the corner, up above the slaughterhouse. Yeah. That's how we figured out. Yeah, they're up there. She hears crying. Nothing else in there, but she's crying. She goes into one of the areas, and it's Claudia and Rosie, thanks to you, sir, hanging there. The hoe Rosie.
And they're up on they're up on like the meat hooks, yeah. But he's got them like tied up with rope up there.
Yeah,
so it's not like he just like
yeah, not like most horror movies. This isn't Halloween Ends or something. Oh wait, that wouldn't have been Jason doing that though in that one.
Especially not in a Halloween movie.
Yeah, I meant Michael Myers.
Might have been better if it was Jason.
It might have been. So. Might have been.
Anyway, that's a whole nother.
Some other random dude. Just Anyway, I don't know why my brain went to Jason all of a sudden. So
because you forgot the name of the guy that movie was actually about.
Yeah, much like the writers did.
Yeah.
So they're hanging there, and Claudia's like yelling at Sarah. Why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you tell anyone, Sarah, that he took us? Why didn't you tell them? And she's like, how do you know that I didn't tell them? Because she wasn't there, obviously. And he's like, he's going to kill us because of you.
Well, I think it's basically because they assume that since like nobody ever came for them, I think Claudia just kind of pieces it together.
Well,
Because at
how would they
first,
know that they didn't come to that one particular building?
yeah, because I think Claudia actually works it out when she sees that that Sarah's there. I don't know what triggers it, but she's like, "You didn't tell them, did you?" And
Yeah,
so
she
she's basically
realized.
saying she realizes that Sarah didn't tell anybody what she saw.
Yeah.
So that's when she starts yelling it. But I don't
Okay.
know how she works that out, but
Yeah, who knows? So they hear him coming back like a vehicle of some sort because Sarah's trying to help
yeah.
help them at this point, try to get them down and all this. And we hear him coming back. Um, and she's now swung Rosie, like the meat hook thing has gone like all the way around the conveyor
Oh
thing,
yeah.
and it's like ended up where she's on the floor basically ish, but she's still attached. She can't get down completely.
Yeah.
So he he comes back in. Sarah runs off. She hides. Um, he takes out a knife and like stabs Rosie.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, I thought he had killed her. I'm like,
I did
holy
too.
crap.
Because he like goes to town. I mean, he
Yeah.
like starts slicing her, so I'm like, oh well, she's gone.
Yeah. And so he starts looking for Sarah. She ends up in like this chute, like where it's like,
One of those pig shoot, I think,
yeah.
isn't it?
Well, where she's at this point, it's like it might have been, but all I know is it's like this trough thing that gives like this runoff. So maybe
Oh yeah.
it was like a pig shoot thing, and then that's where they shoot the animal and then slide them off the thing,
Yeah.
and it goes into like packaging and processing and all that.
Yeah.
So he sees her down in there. The chute like leans over. She slides down. She's next to now where I know it's the waitress
Yeah.
because there's a dead body down there, and I couldn't tell if it was Maka or the waitress, but since the other one was Maka, I'm now going to assume that this was the waitress. The waitress is now dead in there. She's in this plastic whatever. So
Yeah.
Sarah's screaming.
You know what though? You might be right about earlier. Maybe the first one was the waitress.
Who knows?
Because now that you mention it, I thought I remembered someone at some point saying that they found the waitress.
Yeah, see, I thought so too.
The waitress is dead.
Yeah, and see, so that's why I'm like, it was confusing.
Yeah, it was.
Who was down and who wasn't?
Because when one of them screams, she screams Maka, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe they were just yelling for Maka to look because they were still looking for her. Then.
Yeah, or maybe it was Maka's mom who just assumed it was Maka.
Yeah,
at first.
that makes more sense though.
Or maybe maybe she's just screaming because maybe she's worried about her daughter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we see one of the girls dead. Yeah. I'm thinking it's Maka because they were showing her face. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got the girls confused in Terrifier 2 for that whole scene for a while. So face is sometimes not the best for me. So he finds Sarah in there. She's like, I don't want to die. And he's like, no, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
We have to leave. And this is the first time he's talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all. So we're like,
and he's got like a very like soft, like caring voice.
Yeah, it's not like he's mean. No, you're not gonna
die.
Yeah, we have to leave. Like, I'm going to take care. I'm going to protect you. This is what I've been doing all of this for.
Yeah.
So, so Rosie's there on the ground. She's still not dead.
Yeah.
He hands Sarah the knife that he was using, and he goes, we'll do this together.
Yeah.
Basically, like, let's kill them, and then we'll go and run off and live our life together. She starts getting this look on her face like, yeah, let's cut a bee. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then she turns and she stabs or tries to stab
Yeah, she lunges at him
Juan.
instead. Yeah.
He just hits her, knocks her down. Claudia, who's still hanging up above all of them, kicks him. He stumbles back.
Well, he has grabbed the gun at this point.
Okay, yeah.
He has grabbed the gun, and as he's walking by, Claudia kicks him.
Claudia
from
kicks
where
him.
she's hanging. Yeah.
Sarah grabs the knife, stabs him.
Yeah.
And as she stabs him, he shoots in the air, blowing off Claudia's hand, one of them, to now where she's only hanging by one arm.
Yeah.
Okay. So enough to make it come out of the binds up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and her like forearm is like gone.
Yeah.
It's like
Sarah then like jumps onto Juan and bites him in the neck.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's just holding on, and he's struggling, trying to get her off. And she finally takes him to the ground and then kills him by like ripping out his jugular almost with her teeth.
Tasty.
Yeah. She goes in for another bite. I mean, and it's really the only way, because he's stronger than her. As big as she is, he's still stronger.
Yeah. And she knows how to eat.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's the only thing she knows to do. So she just goes for his neck. And
yeah.
So now she's got blood everywhere.
Yeah, she's got blood all over herself. She then starts freaking out because she killed him.
Yeah.
So you can tell, like, she really, I don't know what her deal, she was like into this guy, but she felt like she had to kill him to save herself and her friends. Well, not even her friends, these other people.
Yeah.
And she has now killed this guy who was the only person who was nice to her. Yeah. The two other girls are freaking out. Claudia, even though her hand's blown off, still looks freaking hot hanging up there. I don't know. She just gets hotter and hotter as the film goes on. Rosie's sitting there on the ground, like stabbed and all this. And she's like, "What have you done, Piggy?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
seriously?
After all of this, she was trying to save you and you still do that. Sarah grabs the gun, aims it, and shoots Rosie. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. And she's just got this look on her face. Like,
like she's pissed. Yeah. Then she takes it and aims it at Claudia.
Yeah.
And you hear Claudia, "I'm sorry, Sarah. I won't say a thing. I won't tell anybody. We'll just bang."
Yeah.
Gun goes off. Sarah drops the gun and walks away. She just leaves the building.
Yep.
Claudia is now on the floor. And I'm like, wait, how'd she get on the floor? And I was like, oh, Sarah didn't shoot Claudia. She shot her ropes, which dropped her down and set her free. And she didn't shoot Rosie either. She shot her ropes and set her free too.
Yep.
So Sarah is now walking down the dirt road from this warehouse or the slaughterhouse, covered in blood. She comes up to the main road, and the guy with the motorbike who ratted her out pulls up, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And she just needs a ride into town.
Yeah.
And so she gets onto the bike. And that two-stroker is struggling at this point. It's like, and she's just like feeling free. And I'm like, okay, well, why are you feeling free? Because everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Except for her little brother. She's now going to take care of her little brother. Everybody else is dead.
Yeah.
But she's just like, oh, it's over. And then the credits.
Yeah.
So, do you think I left anything out?
I don't think so. I think everything important.
So, we've got two things to compare here. We've got a short film, and we've got the longer extended version of this film. You know what my thoughts were on the short film last week when I talked about it being my pick or pass. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this film And why should they have left it a short film?
Why should they have left it a short film? Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that specifically. I have my thoughts on certain things.
So I think.
And was it worth the acclaim? That's another question.
I like the way that this one expanded on the actual elements of the short film, because there were things in the short film that I actually thought were like almost like just left out. Like to me, when I watched the short film, it wasn't actually. I didn't see them take her bag. Right, she just comes up out of the water, and then like all of a sudden now she's walking home, in just her bikini.
Yeah. I see, right. And I saw it in the short film where they took all of her stuff.
Okay, and see, I guess I didn't see that.
I could hear them say it, and they ran off with it.
Okay, so I guess for me, there were just little things in the short film, just minor things that they added here that I felt like gave a lot more context to that. This is something that I think it didn't need to be made into a full movie. What it was, though, I think worked. But it also, it really changes it. This is basically a different character. This is a different take on the same character, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the short film...
Yet the same. It was like, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And I guess, at the end of the short film, we kind of get this sense that she is glad about what she did.
Yeah. She's got her revenge.
She got her revenge, and screw them. They shouldn't have been mean to her.
Yep.
Whereas in this one, she goes a completely different route. She kind of does go down that a little bit, but she kind of like skirts the edge of it, really, and never goes down like that full evil path. Although I will say, though, right up until the last moments, I had no idea which direction this film was going. The full length. I had no idea. I didn't know if she was going to turn down this dark path or if she was still gonna.
That she really did shoot them and she really did kill them.
Yeah. And I really thought she did. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, especially right after, Rosie is like, what have you done, Piggy?
Yeah.
I'm like, and all I could think was, she had saved you. She was probably going to save you. And then you mouthed off and she snapped.
Yeah.
And then it turned out, nope, she still saved them.
Yeah.
Saved them. I mean, because she still left them there bleeding and, severely injured out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But she didn't kill them, so.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I liked the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly can't decide.
Would you have had as much conflict had you not seen the short film prior?
No.
Yeah, and see, I think that's where the struggle comes in, is because the short film on its own is so good.
Yeah.
And this movie on its own is really good too.
Yeah.
But when you go to compare the two, there's parts of each one that you're just like, I liked that intensity that the short film gave you. It packed a punch in 13 minutes.
And another thing, and we didn't really go into this, but I think I mentioned it briefly in the short film. He doesn't, when he stops, at the end of the short film, he doesn't open the door and partially get out as though he's about to go after her.
Yeah,
he stops the vehicle. He kind of looks at her in the mirror for a little bit, and then he puts her bag out.
Yeah, because he knows she's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this, I did this for you type thing, and drops him out. And she's like, okay, I get that. Thank you.
And that was kind of my take on the short film version of Ball Cap. And in that, yeah, he was a bad guy, but he was also just kind of going after people who treated other people like garbage.
Yeah. Which we don't see why he kills the guy, the first original guy.
No, we don't see it, but because of how the short film ended, I was kind of able to get that lore set up in my head where that's just what he does.
Yeah.
And so that maybe he saw, and this film kind of starts out going down that path, when the guy slaps the waitress's butt and I immediately felt like, oh, you just put yourself on the target list.
Yeah.
But then in this film, that guy, ball cap Juan, I guess,
Yeah.
kills the waitress too, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Unless at some point prior that we have not seen that the waitress and the lifeguard have been mean to Sarah and we
yeah,
just haven't seen it. I mean, there is a possibility that
I guess,
maybe this wasn't. Well, no, she said that it was the first time she'd seen that guy there.
yeah,
But I don't know. It's there was a few things that I was kind of like, yeah, I was like, why did he kill the waitress? I thought the same
yeah.
thing.
And I
But
guess maybe if they had just left it as that's what he does, or if they had, like you said, maybe maybe the waitress was in on stuff. If they had established that, that
yeah,
would be one thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I felt like I'm not going to go into all in and like rooting for a bad guy, but at least I felt like this was
there was
he
reason
had
to it.
yeah he actually had motivation for what he did, even if it was
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
And so I honestly think that killing off the waitress kind of destroys a lot of that character,
yeah,
personally.
yeah. Because he was
Because
doing it because he loved her. I mean, he thought that he loved Sarah is why he was doing these things. He was doing them for her.
oh, in the movie, yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, when he
It-
killed the waitress, she should have been one of those ones that was still alive. Unless for some reason he had to, and that's why she was not at the same place.
yeah. And the only thing I can think is like maybe this is reading way too much into it, I'm sure, but maybe the waitress was his first one, and she didn't take to his kind act.
That is a possibility.
I
That's a
I don't know.
possibility. Maybe the guy just had this thing where he obsessed over. Yeah. And he took this obsession. Yeah, maybe she was the first. Who knows?
I
mean,
don't know.
that could very possibly be. I've known.
See what I mean? Like, I feel
people
like
close to that extent.
they kind of went too far in putting some backstory behind some stuff, but at the same time, not give us enough.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. I prefer the short film version of him.
Yes,
I
agree.
But I like kind of the mental struggle that they did go through with Sarah in this full length version. It's just, and I like the fact that I genuinely didn't know which direction she was going to go.
Yeah.
Right up until that very last moment.
Do you wish that she would have killed them at the end? Or do you not?
It's not like I wish that she would have. But it's
because I mean, it would have made a completely different ending for sure.
For a totally different ending.
But I mean, would you think that the movie would have been better if she had, or do you think?
So I actually don't, for the sole purpose of the very moment that Rosie said, "What have you done, Piggy?" I thought for sure that was going to cause Sarah to snap.
Yeah,
and like you said, you see her shoot, and so the fact that then you then get that scene where she just shot the ropes, that subverted my expectations, which I like in a movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I do like it better that she didn't.
Yeah.
But if she had, I thought that would have been a perfectly acceptable ending, because then it's like, you had your chance. This girl that you have tormented went out of her way and put herself in danger to save you, and your immediate response is to torment her some more.
Yeah. And see, at first when I saw that Claudia came down and she just shot the ropes down, I would have been perfectly fine. Rosie dead, Claudia still alive.
Yeah.
Give me a little blood. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Give me a little bloodshed, and I would have been happy. No, I liked the movie. I did, and it's hard when you're comparing two things that were really, really good together, and trying to say, is one better than the other? I think, like I said, I really liked the intensity of the short film. And it's definitely worth watching prior to watching this.
And I think as long as you go into it understanding that the film, the full length feature film, is not an extension of the short film.
No.
It's basically a totally different story that has some of the same elements at the beginning. It has the same setup.
Yeah.
But it tells a totally different story.
It's a remake to an extent, but
Yeah.
not fully. But yeah.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I did too.
I was happy with it. I thought it was a great film, especially for being as indie as it was. I'm a huge indie fan anyway, so
yeah,
it made me happy. I did watch and I don't even know if there is a subtitled version, but I watched a dubbed version, which
Well, I mean,
I feel like was rough.
I feel like since we take notes during the whole thing, I feel like we have to be able to watch dubbed versions.
Yeah,
because I don't want to try to read and
it's hard sometimes.
I'm sorry, but and it's not just her. There were several points where the dubbing was not great, but Sarah's mother, the mom, it's like. And it wouldn't surprise me in the least if this is exactly what happened, is that she was given a sheet of here are your lines. Say them.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me, the mom's voice and the way that she said certain things kind of reminds me of the dub work that they did on that really annoying chick from Squid Game. Remember the one that was like, she was supposedly some sort of badass, and she was like all that stuff. It reminded me of her dub of that. Now, supposedly in the original version of Squid Game, her story was completely different.
Yeah.
And the way that she acted and all that, like the stuff that she said was completely different. So
so I wouldn't. I followed up on that a little bit. I wouldn't say it's completely different. It's more like there were some cultural things that maybe didn't get translated the best way.
Okay.
And
anyway, her voice was super annoying. It was super annoying. That's all I know. And that's kind of how the mom's was. But anyway, before we go down those rabbit holes too far, if you guys haven't checked out Piggy, make sure you check it out. It is on anywhere where you can, basically, it's a pay for stream thing. Yeah. So you can get it on Amazon, Google, anywhere that you can find it on there. It's worth the watch. It definitely is worth the watch.
Yep, I like it.
So rent it if you can off of one of those, which, I mean, you can, obviously. So yeah, go do so. Check out Piggy. Before you do the watch Cerdita, or just look up Piggy. Short film on YouTube.
It's an Alter, isn't that from
Alter? It's on Alter. Which we've mentioned on,
which is on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel. So
subscribe to them.
Fantastic short films.
And while you're there subscribing to that, might as well subscribe to our channel. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and also leave some comments down below. Tell us what you guys think we should cover next. Maybe not next, because you won't be able to do that before we do our next one, but some point soon. But anyway, speaking of films that we are going to be covering, or things that we might, why don't you guys take a look at a few of these films? They're coming up right here that you guys can check out in the next few weeks or months. They're either coming to theaters or somewhere where you can stream them. We're going to try to cover
some of these,
some of those, some of these. But anyway, check those ones out, and let us know what you guys think we should cover next. I know we've kind of been all over the board on some of these films, and we're going to continue to just not keep you knowing what we're going to do next. Anyway, before we end each episode, we like to do a little segment called Real Stories That Horror You. This is stories from the real world, things that are weird, strange, paranormal, unsolved, whatever, things that are horrific. Anyway, this one comes from the year 1974, a little bit before me, a little bit before you.
Yep.
Not by much, but just a hair bit. But yeah, in 1974, a 24-year-old Wako University student, Isai Sagawa, allegedly followed a German woman home to her home in Tokyo, Japan. He broke into her apartment while she was sleeping and attempted to cut a piece of flesh off of her body to consume. Yummy.
Tasty.
When she awoke, she reportedly fought him off, and he was later captured by the police. According to a 2012 Vice News documentary that covered the bizarre story, he was mistakenly charged with attempted rape, and his wealthy father paid the victim a settlement outside of court to have the charges dropped. Okay. So, 7 years later, now 1981, year of new wave. I have been alive for a while now. He allegedly committed a murder in France then, shooting and eating a fellow university student, Renee Hartevelt. Isai creepily documented the entire experience with photographs, and he was captured by authorities once again while attempting to dump the rest of her body in the Bois de Boulogne Lake.
Okay.
Deported back to Japan and committed to a mental institution. For some unknown reason, the psychologist in Japan declared that he was sane. And furthermore, then, a legal technicality involving the French government refusing to turn over documents from the case meant that the murder charges were dropped completely.
Wow.
He then checked himself out of the mental hospital and has been reportedly walking the streets as a free man ever since. He has since become a controversial celebrity, writing over 20 books.
What?
And according to Japan Today, he most recently fantasized about an unnamed TV actress, saying, I'll catch a glimpse of her thigh and think, that sure looks tasty. But I don't feel like I actually want to eat it, as I accomplished the act of cannibalism once, and there's no meaning to maintaining the desire for it anymore. In my book, I wrote that human flesh, was tasty, but that was not really true. I'd much rather eat Kobe beef. But because I desired to consume human flesh for so long, I'd managed to convince myself that it would be necessarily delicious. He then referenced the Rolling Stones song Too Much Blood, with the lyrics reading, and when he ate her, he took her bones to the Bois de la Baume. He is currently 73 years old and continues to live in Kawasaki City, Japan to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, he's still out there.
That's messed up.
There has been an update on this. He died actually on the 24th of November of 2022.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, there was a little bit of a little tag end to the story. So, the horror's not there anymore, people. Cannibals don't exist anymore. But anyway, yeah. I've heard of cannibals are out there, man. People who want to try it.
Yeah, man, this would have been a great story for last week.
Yeah, it would have been. I didn't have it at that point, but I've heard of there's a company out there called Hofu, or Hufu, sorry, HUFU. And they actually make human flesh flavored tofu. How they got the research, I don't know, but for people who want to try it, yeah, I don't even want to tell any more about it, due to the sheer fact that people could go look it up. But yeah, they sell it online. That's all I'll say. Anyway, That was it for this week's. One more thing before we leave. We like to do a little segment called Pick or Pass, unless you guys have a better name for it. If you do, put it down in the comment section. Make sure while you're down there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Every week, we like to tell you a little something, whether we think you should pick it or pass it, whether it be something we've watched in the last week or so, or something that we've seen recently, or that has caught our attention. Sir,
Yes.
I'll let you go first.
I found a short film. It is actually...
Did you now?
It's actually 6 years old, but I just came across it this week. It's you can find it on YouTube, the Super Freak Media channel. It's
super freaky. Yeah.
It's called Sandman. It is 5 minutes and 30 seconds long.
This isn't the one that Sandman, like the Neil Gaiman
from 6 years ago.
Right?
No.
Okay.
That's
no. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, did they take the Neil Gaiman story?
No, I think it's more along the lines of like
it's a different Sandman.
The idea, the Sandman. You know, the
Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, the sleeping whatever.
Bring me a dream, and try not to eat my thigh while I sleep. Yeah.
So it's 5.5 minutes long, and it's a girl who wakes up from a terrifying dream, but realizes there's a bigger nightmare that awaits her. So,
okay,
it's 5.5 minutes long. There is not much I can say about it, other than I'm pretty sure it jump scared me like twice.
Wow! Wow!
It's pretty.
That says a lot.
It's pretty creepy. I'll give it that. A very good, creepy, very short film. It's worth checking out.
Nice. Watch it with headphones.
Oh, yeah.
Does it help? Okay. Always.
Yeah.
Always. If you can get that aural stimulation, A-U-R-A-L, aural, then do it. Definitely do it. Cool. So it's a pick for you.
It is a pick. Short film pick.
Nice. Super Freak. Check out Sandman.
Yep.
So cool.
What you got for us?
Mine is actually an anime series.
Oh, okay.
It's a horror-based one. It's called High School of the Dead. It's a group of high schoolers who end up one day, all of humanity is being wiped out by zombies. And they are overrunning their school and everything else and all the city around them. Of course, it takes place around Tokyo because it's anime. But great storyline. Really well done. The fan service is incredible. So yeah.
That's one of those.
It's one of those. Really, really good anime. But check it out if you guys get a chance. Again, it's High School of the Dead. It's worth checking out. Definitely.
I've heard of it.
But yeah. Really, really good stuff. Cool. So it's definitely a pick for me. But that is it for this week. Sir, what film are we going to be doing next week? I'm so excited.
I am too.
I've been waiting for this one.
Looking forward to this one. We are serving up the menu.
The menu. Yes. I have been waiting for this one.
Yes.
We are finally getting to it.
Didn't get to see it, but it has just dropped on HBO Max.
Yes, it is streaming.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's available other places. I don't know.
It's available on VOD now.
Okay.
It's available, yes, and it's on HBO Max.
All right.
So, since this point I have no money, it's hard for me to get to the theaters.
Yeah.
So I have to wait till they drop onto services that I have available to me.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm excited.
I am too.
We get
been
to see
waiting for this one for so long.
I'm a huge fan of some of these actresses, and just mainly this actress. Anya Taylor-Joy, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Anyway, make sure you guys check that one out next week. And hit like and subscribe so you guys know when it drops and know when it comes out. Also, make sure to check out our audio version of this show. Or if you're just listening to the audio version, make sure you guys check out the video version of this podcast. Vice versa, we're on YouTube or any of the podcast providers that you guys listen to. So, yeah, subscribe everywhere, people. Do it. Do it. Share it. Love it. Subscribe it. But anyway, next week, the menu. I'm excited. Until then, people, peace out. We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Ha 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 ha!